Beggar immortal. It is said that Gao Yucheng is a child of a wealthy family and lives in Guangli, Jincheng. He is good at acupuncture and treats patients regardless of whether they are rich or poor. One day, a beggar came with sores on his calves. He was lying on the roadside. His legs were full of pus and blood, and the smell was terrible. The residents were afraid that he would die and sent him some food every day. Gao Yucheng saw him and took pity on him. He sent someone to help him home and settled him in a side room. The servants thought he smelled bad and stood at a distance with their noses covered. Gao Yucheng took out mugwort and lit it, gave him acupuncture himself, and provided him with meals every day. A few days later, the beggar became greedy and asked for soup and bread. The servant scolded him angrily. When Gao Yucheng found out, he sent his servants to give him soup and cakes. Not long after, the beggar asked for wine and meat again. The servant came and said, "This beggar is so ridiculous. When I was lying on the road, I couldn't even eat one meal a day. Now, I can eat 3 meals a day. It's not too much. What a waste." He was given soup, cakes, and asked for wine and meat. He is so greedy, so he should be thrown back on the road. Gao Yucheng asked the servant how his sore was doing. And the servant said, "The scab is about to fall off, and he seems to be able to walk again. I think he was moaning on purpose, pretending to be in pain." Gao Yucheng said, "Hey, how much money can we spend on giving him food and wine? When he recovers, he will not regard us as enemies." The servant pretended to agree, but did not comply. He and his companions laughed at the master's stupidity. The next day, Gao Yucheng went to see the beggar in person. The beggar stood up with limping legs and thanked him. "Sir, your great kindness is like reviving the dead and making flesh grow from the bones. I am really grateful. It's just that my sores have just healed, and I have fully recovered from the service. I want to eat something good to satisfy my craving." Only then did Gao Yucheng realize that his original order to the servant had not been carried out. So he called the servant and beat him severely, and ordered him to bring wine and meat to the beggar immediately, and to heat the wine. The servant secretly hated the beggar. At night, the servant set fire to the side room and deliberately shouted, "There is a fire. Put out the fire." Gao Yucheng quickly got up and saw that the side room had turned into rubble. He said regretfully, "Oh, now, the beggar is finished. Urgently urge everyone to put out the fire." At this time, everyone saw the beggar lying in the fire, sleeping soundly and snoring like thunder. Everyone pushed him awake. The beggar opened his eyes and pretended to be surprised, and said, "Hey, where has the house gone?" Then people knew that he was not an ordinary person. Gao Yucheng also respected him even more, letting him live in the guest room, putting on new clothes for him, and spending time with him every day. When asked about his name, he called himself Chen Jiu. After living there for a few days, his appearance became brighter, his conversation was extraordinary, and he played chess well. Gao Yucheng often lost to him, so he learned chess from him every day, and he really learned some secrets of chess. After half a year of this, the beggar didn't even say he was leaving, and Gao Yucheng couldn't leave him for a moment. Even if distinguished guests come, beggars will be invited to accompany them to drink. During the banquet, Chen Jiu guessed the number for Gao Yucheng while throwing dice for the drinking order. Every guess was accurate, and Gao Yucheng was surprised. Gao Yucheng knew that he was not a mortal, and often asked him to show his abilities. Chen Jiu refused and said that he had no abilities. One day, Chen Jiu said, "I want to leave. I have received your great kindness in the past. I will hold a small banquet for you today, but please don't bring anyone else." Gao Yucheng said, "We got along well together. Why did we leave suddenly? You don't have any money, how can I bother you?" Chen Jiu said firmly, "How much does a glass of wine cost?" Gao Yucheng said, "Where are we going?" Chen Jiu replied, "Go to your back garden." It was the severe winter season at this time, and Gao Yucheng was afraid of the cold in the garden pavilion, so Chen Jiu said, "It won't bother me." Gao Yucheng followed him to the garden. As soon as I entered the garden, I suddenly felt that the weather was as warm as spring in March. When I entered the pavilion, it was even warmer, and there were groups of rare birds singing and chirping together. It's like late spring. The cases and coffee tables in the pavilion are all inlaid with agate jade. There is also a crystal screen that shines brightly and can illuminate people. You can see swaying flowers and trees inside, some blooming and some falling. And there is also a kind of bird. It is as white as snow, flying around and screaming, and the sound is very pleasant when you touch it with your hands. But there was nothing. Gao Yucheng was stunned for a long time before he sat down. And then he saw a bird on the shelf, saying to the scholar, "Serve tea." After a while, he saw a red phoenix bird flying over with a ruby plate in its mouth, with 2 glasses in the plate. The cup was filled with fragrant tea. He came to Gao Yucheng and stood respectfully with his long neck stretched out. When Gao Yucheng finished drinking and put the teacup back, the red phoenix bird picked up the ruby plate again and spread its wings and flew away. The owl cried again, "Serve the wine." Immediately, a green loon and a yellow crane flew from the sun, one holding a wine pot and the other a wine glass, and placed them on the table. There were also many birds bringing dishes, fluttering in the air and flapping their wings. In no time, the table was covered with delicacies. The wine and food are rare and of the highest quality. At the banquet, Chen Jiu saw that Gao Yucheng drank a lot and said, "You drink a lot, so you have to use a big cup." The bird cried again, "The big cup is waiting for you." Suddenly, there were bright spots of light on the edge of the sun, and a big butterfly flapped its wings and flew towards the garden with its feet, holding a wine glass engraved with a parrot pattern. The wine glass contained a bucket of wine. When it landed on the desk, Gao Yucheng saw that the butterfly was bigger than a wild goose. The wings of the butterfly were beautiful in shape and had colorful patterns. Gao Yucheng was full of praise. Chen Jiu shouted, "Diezi persuades you to drink." The butterfly flew and turned into a beauty, with embroidered clothes, flying. "Come and have a toast." Chen Jiu added, "We have to accompany him with wine." The beauty then danced gracefully, reaching the climax with her feet more than a foot above the ground. From time to time, she tilted her head back and bent her waist, so that her head almost touched her feet. She did another somersault without even touching the planet Saturn. While dancing, she sang. She stepped on the fragrant bushes with laughter, and her face was red with low branches of flowers. I don't know where the gold is falling in the twists and turns, and I follow the butterfly across the east fence. After singing, the lingering sound lingers. Gao Yucheng was so happy that he pulled her to drink with him. Chen Jiu agreed to let her sit down and gave her a drink. Gao Yucheng couldn't control himself after drinking. He was moved and suddenly held the beauty in his arms. But the beauty suddenly turned into a yaksha, with her eyeballs protruding out of her eyes, her teeth sticking out of her lips, and her face covered with black pimples and flesh. She became an ugly monster. Gao Yucheng was so frightened that he quickly let go and lay on the table, shivering. Chen Jiu tapped her teeth with chopsticks and shouted, "Go away quickly," as soon as he knocked. She turned into a butterfly again and flew away in a blink of an eye. Gao Yucheng calmed down, said goodbye, looked up and saw the moonlight in the sky, and said to Chen Jiu, "The good wine and food you entertained me come from the sky. Your home must be in the sky. Can you take me to have some fun?" Chen Jiu 9 said, "Okay." He took his hand and jumped off the ground. Gao Yucheng immediately felt that his body was in the air, not far from the sky. Gradually, I saw a very high door. The door was as round as the mouth of a well. Once inside, it was as bright as day. The pavement was made of pale stones, smooth and clean, without a speck of dust. There is a big tree several feet high, with red flowers as big as lotus blooming on it. A tree full of trees. Under the tree, there is a beautiful girl who is beating a crimson dress on the stone. She is very beautiful. Gao Yucheng stood there blankly like a log. The girl found out and said angrily, "You crazy boy. What are you doing here?" She hit him on the back with a hammer. Chen Jiu quickly took him to a secluded place and scolded him severely. Gao Yucheng took a beating. They woke up from the wine and felt very ashamed, so they followed Chen Jiu out. There were white clouds outside the door, catching their feet. Chen Jiu said, "From now on, we are separated. Let me tell you, remember, you won't live long. Hide in Zishan as soon as possible tomorrow. May you can avoid death." Gao Yucheng wanted to keep him. He turned and left. Gao found that the clouds were gradually lowering and falling in his back garden. But the scenery in the garden was completely different from when Chen Jiu invited him to the banquet. When I returned home and told my wife, they were both surprised. Look at the place where the shirt touched the stick. It is as red as the sunset and has a special fragrance. The next morning, Gao Yucheng followed Chen Jiu's instructions and went up to Zishan Mountain with dry food. It happened that the sky was full of fog and the road could not be seen clearly. I was walking quickly on a desolate slope when I suddenly fell into a large, mist-filled cave. I felt it was very deep. Fortunately, didn't get hurt. Wake up and take a closer look. The mist was steaming as if I had just opened the steamed bun cage. I couldn't help but sigh and said, "The immortal told me to avoid disaster, but I can't escape my fate. When can I get out of here and die?" After sitting for an hour, I saw a faint light deep in the cave. Then he stood up and walked in. Unexpectedly, there was another world inside. Two old men were playing chess. When they saw him, they ignored him and just played chess. Gao Yucheng squatted aside and watched. After the chess game was finished, the old man put the chess pieces into the box and then asked him how he got to this place. Gao replied, "I lost my way and fell in." The old man said, "This is not the human world. It is not convenient to stay for a long time. I will take you back." So he led him back to the cave. Gao Yucheng felt that there were clouds under his feet, lifting him up, and after a while he reached the flat ground. At first glance, he saw that the trees in the mountains had turned dark yellow, and the leaves were falling, as if they were in late autumn. He was shocked, and said, "Huh? I came here in winter. Why did it suddenly become late autumn?" When he ran home, his wife and the children were all shocked, hugging him and crying. Gao Yucheng was surprised and asked his wife. She said, "It has been 3 years since you went to Zishan. I thought you were no longer alive." Gao said, "It's strange. This happened just now." He took out the dry food he brought, and saw that it had all turned into powder. The whole family was very surprised. My wife said, "After you left, I dreamed of 2 men in black clothes and bright belts. They looked like government officials who came to collect rent taxes. They entered the house aggressively and looked around, saying, 'Where is Gao Yucheng?' I said rudely, 'He's out.' Even if you are official, you shouldn't break into someone's inner room." The 2 of them left, muttering, "Weird things happened," and so on. Gao Yucheng suddenly realized that what he met in the mountains was a fairy, and what his wife dreamed about was a ghost. Whenever Gao Yucheng faced guests, he wore a gown that had been touched by sticks. And everyone in the room could smell that special fragrance. It was neither musk nor orchid, and the fragrance was even stronger when it was stained with sweat.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.